What do you think? Do you think new glasses need to be washed before used?
Well, it's from IKEA, so maybe not.
Scandinavian sensibilities.
Probably super clean.
Yeah.
There's a little sticker.
A little sticker there. It says, what is it? Please
Cleaned.
wash before using.
Really?
Yeah, and
No.
skull and crossbones. So if I fade out halfway through, you take over for me, okay?
Don't worry. That's why I said to drink from it.
Hey everybody, how we doing? Welcome back to the Good Dogs Q&A Saturday. It feels like it's been a long time since we rock and rolled, but it really hasn't. We were just doing Rhode Island.
Yeah.
We just rocked there. But this would be the maiden voyage of the new location.
The new location.
What do you
Da-da-da!
guys think? The walls are a little dark, so hopefully you can see us against this. We still have our trusty fern between us, between one fern.
One fern, or one fern between us.
Right. And we got the girls, they're here, Shelby and Henri and the pups and everybody moving in and kind of knocking it down a little piece at a time. Pretty exciting, awesome place. It's going to be so much fun.
Yes.
The potential is pretty damn awesome.
Really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a really cool spot.
Yeah.
Just needs like a once over and some doggies.
I think we're going to paint. I think you know me.
Yeah.
You know me.
You gotta paint the bedroom.
I got a little bit of a paint thing and a furniture thing. And, you know, there were some accusatory statements the other day about my penchant for, like...
Interior decorating. Let's put it that way. It's an interior decorator.
And I can pick out some women's shoes on occasion.
Oh, you actually do great with women's shoes and women's clothes, and you're great with that stuff. Not that you pick them out for yourself.
I'd like to think that puts me in the Renaissance man category rather than the other category
you said there's accusatory stuff. I said you're
There was just a wry grin on your face when you were like, you're really good with that stuff.
That's not even something to accuse someone of. All I was saying was that you are really good with, like, he was like, we were at IKEA and he was like, this will really bring the room together, and like I need to get this room completed before I move on to this room. And I was like, wow, I've never, like, most men are like, whatever, just pick it. Or
I'm like the Drake of interior design.
No.
Drake would care about it.
No, it's not that people don't care. It's just that they don't know the terminology like you do.
Do I know terminology?
Yeah, you're like, bring the room together, complete the room.
That's from
like,
Big Lebowski. Come on. That's the only thing I know, right?
But you're not saying
Really
it as
tie
a
the
joke.
room together. Who sent you the clip of just recently? It'll really tie the room together.
Yeah, tie the room together.
Anyways, okay, enough about me and my top secret talents. What else we got cooking? So we just got back from Rhode Island. Launch was awesome. Sold out. 18 peeps.
Yep.
Amazing crowd. Like really special crowd. This one really came together nice.
It really did.
We had a great time. Had some snow, unsuspected.
It was so fun.
Snow.
All of it was so fun.
Yeah, I got to run in the snow like a good boy, jogging off those donuts, which is good.
There were a lot of donuts eaten.
There were not a lot of donuts. Donuts only came one day,
And you
so
ate 5 of them.
I ate 4.
And then the other days you ate mini cinnamon rolls.
I don't recall that.
Cookies and chocolates.
Cookies? There were no cookies there.
You eat.
Oh, there were animal crackers.
Yeah,
But animal crackers are almost health food.
Those are animal cookies, not crackers.
They're called crackers. Crackers are a different category than cookies, right? Let's just be clear. A cracker is not a cookie.
Okay.
So anyways, Rhode Island was amazing. Just a really awesome group. We had such a good time, and great seeing Jeffrey as always.
Yes, as always.
And we had the reunion, which was a blast, working with a bunch of T3 grads. So that was super cool. And then beyond that, and beyond this new place that we're like putting together, we've got Nola coming up.
Yes.
You want to tell the peeps a little bit about what we got
Ecollar
going
workshop, May 7th and 8th. It's almost sold out.
on? If I survive this glass.
If you survive that glass of water. It is almost sold out, but we do have some spots left, which we didn't kind of expect. We thought maybe it would go sooner, but it's great.
We're not as popular as we thought we were.
I mean, we also were worried that no one would sign up, so it's cool that we got
So
some.
right. We vacillated. We're like,
If you're if you're even close to even thinking about it, like a flight into Nola is like $250 to $300. 2-night stay, probably
yeah, there's
$100.
nothing going on, so it's kind of a cheap, low price. Yeah,
$100 each at a hotel and Airbnb, like right around the corner, and then the seminar with a dog is $500, $300 without.
Yeah.
And if you want to just come and like watch and hang out, or
eat
just
donuts with us, eat beignets with us.
Or just bring your dog and get him e-collar trained up. It's like $1,000 for like hands-on e-collar training with this guy. So
and this chick.
So, I would strongly suggest it if you were thinking about going to a trainer anyway, and you wanted to do something. It'd be really fun.
Yeah, or if you've used our DVDs and you want some more personal insight, you've had great luck, but you want to tweak and fine-tune some stuff, it'd be a perfect opportunity to make that go down.
Definitely.
And we're going to keep it small, going to keep it intimate, and awesome.
Yeah.
So I highly recommend it. She highly recommends it. We'd love to see you guys there. So last few spots, grab them.
Yep.
All right, you ready to get into the show? Hey everybody, it's Sean from The Good Dog. Do I blast out the mic when I do that?
Always.
Always. Hey everybody, it's Sean. Doesn't need another one. Sean from The Good Dog. And this, to my left, unusually to my left, because she's usually to my right, to the left, right, is the lovely Laura Morgan, who I think is slowly trying to take over the show. Slowly with movement, maybe a questionable glass. Who knows? It might be Laura's Nola workshop.
Why would I want to take over the show?
Because you aspire to the empire. You aspire to take over the empire.
If you left the show, I would just stop doing it. It'd just be one less thing for me to do per week. It'd be great. It's not going to be like, oh yay, I get to cut it and be in it myself.
Oh, that's a terrible thing to say.
I would answer all of your questions one by one.
There you go, right? Have we seen some cracks here, guys? Just saying.
Online, I would answer them.
Okay. Anyways, so this is the lovely Laura Morgan to my left, whatever she says. And this is Q&A number 79. Can I do 9? Or do you do 9?
I do 9. You're 7.
Damn it. Sorry. 79. Cool.
I put that finger down because I broke a nail. I don't want to show everyone.
Oh, really? Yeah. Ghetto nail? You broke one the other day and was like searching through the airport. I need nail glue.
I did look for nail glue, huh?
And she had like the broken piece in her teeth.
I did not. That's disgusting.
I need nail glue.
Okay. Question number 1 comes from Allison. Allison says, what was the most hopeless moment you had with your troubled dogs, and what did you do to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and persevere? One of the hardest things to deal with in training my 2 poodle terrier mixes has been the hopeless moments when it just seems like nothing will ever change with their behavior. Luckily, most of these experiences are behind me with the help of one of your mentees, Deb Pollock, for the love of dogs,
Deb.
Elk Grove, California.
Deb's
She's great.
Yeah.
But the hopeless moments are still a very recent memory. It's always great to hear your stories, to know that those of us with difficult dogs aren't alone and we aren't crazy for trying. Yep.
Nice message.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy that we're able to lend some kind of support as you go through that stuff.
I mean, the one thing I'll say, Allison, is that everyone who walks through these doors, well, not these doors, but the last doors, and everyone
And
we've
soon
ever
to
met,
be through these doors. Yeah.
and pretty much every trainer we've ever worked with at a T3 or have had experiences where they've had to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and move on, because if they don't, they can't train anymore.
Yeah.
Or if they don't, they can't keep the dog in their home,
Yeah.
And so you're so not alone. It's just it's a journey that I guarantee you probably everyone who's watching this right now has the same experiences of how do I pick up, after something, even if it's not huge. I had a scuffle with Cujo. Cujo and another dog had a scuffle at the park because this owner went crazy and just turned something out of nothing.
Panicked. Yeah.
But it was something that was hard for me to even go back to the park, and it wasn't even a bad, terrible thing. It was just those things can really scar you. So
yeah, you were pretty upset by that.
Yeah.
And that was his first real life kind of scuffle with the dog,
Yeah.
which I think caused you to be pretty
Yeah.
concerned about future stuff.
Totally. You're like, did I misread? Am I misreading? Or what's going on? Like, did something change? There's all those conversations. So, but go ahead.
I mean, and I was just going to say, you know, I'm sure that's one thing, but like, I think something that maybe would connect even more is like what about Polar Bear, like your worst situation with him maybe?
I mean, the Cujo thing was, I just brought up because it was minor.
It was recent.
It got me and it was recent.
Yeah.
But, Polar Bear, I mean, I had moments like, probably my most hopeless moment was I was out with him and Hercules, and I just brought Herc home like just a week before. And I was out with them, and I'd usually done this walk and like kept on Polar Bear pretty good. But now it was them together, but I was doing a long one, and we had a couple like walk-bys with dogs far away that went okay. And then we had one where they just like, he redirected on Herc, and then Herc went over him, and
oh wow,
it was like this huge scuffle, and the woman with the other dog was like totally, you know, shaming me and like all this stuff, and I like dragged them home. It was like trying to hide behind everything, and it was one of those moments where I was like, if I don't sort out Polar Bear like he needs to be sorted out, I'm gonna ruin this guy, you know, I'm gonna ruin this dog.
Hercules.
I'm gonna ruin Herc, and it was one of those moments where I was like, I can't, this is just really hard. I don't know if I'll ever be able to like walk this dog right, you know. It's like it was I think that was one of them. I mean, I have a lot of them, but
the time he bit you really badly was a bad one too.
But like those moments, you know, the moments with me weren't as bad as like seeing him with like on walks and stuff where there was actual like fear of like going out again, like how do I take him out on a walk again, you know. And I'll tell you, the one thing that I did one time that really changed our relationship completely was I went on a walk, and it was really bad, and I had a moment of like, either I don't walk him, or I like go out there with the most committed attitude towards making this better. And it was just so like a black or white thing. It was like, I'm either not walking him except in the middle of the night, or I'm gonna go out there and solve this. And I actually took him out with an Ecollar and like walked him for a long time, probably like an hour and a half.
Was that famous day where you were like, I'm going, and
and it was just a big high level correction around a dog behind a fence, and then we just walked by dog after dog after dog. And from that day forward, I was really like, it was that motivation of like, it's this or nothing, you know? And that kind of like hopelessness can kind of feed that, I think. What about you?
I remember that. I remember all of those occasions. But I especially remember you being so excited at the same time after you had kind of done like kind of recaptured some of your hope after like correcting him and like, I think we might have something here.
Like you can you can, I think for so long you can go out and be kind of gotta be careful of that cord. You can go out and be kind of like defeated, or you can go out and be like, I'm gonna kick some butt, and what's the worst that could happen, you know? As always with me, like, what's the worst that could happen? It's not like, you know, I don't know. So
he can bite me and send me to the hospital. Or that. As for me, there's so many to list. You know, when I first started out and had zero experience, you know, this is almost 17 years ago, 16 and a half. Oakley and Junior, their reactivity on leash was so bad, and same stuff you're talking about, like hind legs spinning around, biting each other, pulling me to the ground. I mean, it's like I could regale you guys with hilarious stories that are also like really sad at the same time. You know, like having them both on flexi leashes and flat collars at the park, and them seeing dogs, and literally like early in the morning when it's kind of dewy out, and taking off and taking me right off my feet and dragging me on my rear, almost like water skiing, except on your ass, and across the park as they went after dogs. And it's like the most helpless, hopeless, horrible stuff. So tons of those moments. Oakley started to exhibit a lot of dog aggression stuff, and I was like really overwhelmed and didn't know what to do with it. He was fine with Junior, but he started to show around like a year and a half stuff that was not good, and that culminated in like the worst experience of my life, which was he got out of the house, out of the apartment, him and Junior, slipped out the front door as I was leaving, ran down the driveway, and at the end of the driveway were my neighbor's 2 Pomeranians off leash. And my neighbor was out there, and her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's brother, and Oakley came flying out with Junior behind him, and I came running right behind him. And within a split second, he had grabbed that Pomeranian and picked it up. And I grabbed him immediately afterwards and lifted his front end up so he couldn't shake or get any leverage to try and do anything. And I got him to drop the dog, and everything looked cool, and there was no blood, there was no nothing. It was very traumatic and very horrible looking, but there was nothing visible. And then we've come to find out later that he'd actually punctured the dog's lung, and the dog died. And it was just like one of the most horrible nights of my life, and obviously like one of the worst, most horrible, devastating nights for that owner, that owner's life. So that was a really, really bad one. And, you know, I worked through that and was trying to get into a better space. We found Belle on the side of the freeway on the way to my parents' house, and thought he was maybe in a better space. This was like a couple years down the line. He went after her and tried to get her, and that was really, I was like, I gotta do something.
Yeah.
This is just not stopping. All of my like positive work and positive energy stuff was not getting us anywhere. And so that's when I got prong collars, and I got serious, and I started working on their stuff. And so I don't want this to go too long and be too tedious, but the reality was it was extremely, extremely bad. And the only way I got it better was literally I went out, got different tools, and had a basic sense of what I was trying to achieve. And I went to a park where there was a rectangle where everybody walked dogs and jogged, and they all walked in the same direction, and we walked the opposite. And we did it twice a day, every single day. And to the point where he had no more reactivity left, and I had no more anxiety or self-consciousness left about like correcting my dog in front of people. And that time really was impactful. That was really what changed. That was like kind of like your moment where you're like, I'm done. I'm gonna. I don't care what anybody thinks. I don't care.
Have one option, really.
Right? I got to find my answer.
Yeah.
And so that's what I try and impart to you is to not lose hope, and to keep looking for your answers, and your kind of resolute space where you're like, I'm done. I'm going to find this answer no matter what. And when you get into that space, some pretty surprising stuff can pop up.
Definitely.
And you might just find, even though you're already making progress, you might find the thing that takes you to your next space as far as progress-wise. Yeah. So hang tough, hang in there. I know it's hard. Anybody who's got problem dogs can empathize with this. And so know that we've been down that road and made major improvements. Polar Bear, Oakley, both of them were in complete different spaces, and so there's a lot of work that can be done and a lot of progress, and so we just encourage you to go out and keep doing it. And Deb's great, and just keep knocking it out, and keep us posted, and keep the faith.
All right. Thanks. Let us know.
Thanks.
Okay. Question number 2 comes from Kat.
Yes.
Kat says, great DVD, the Ecollar training DVD and training program.
Excellent.
I've got a very sensitive, stubborn, fearful, and reactive dog, and the downstays have definitely helped her calm down a fair bit.
Excellent.
I've been working my dog on walking healing with the Ecollar. It's been going pretty well. However, I'm running into a few things I've wanted to ask your opinion on. So I've seen the videos that the dog eventually stops being distracted and begins to focus on the walker. My dog, on the other hand, spends the entire time in avoidance. She barely looks at me unless prompted by a look command. She tries to sit with her back to me, or at least a bit further away from me than I'd like. In general, she's definitely not engaging in the way I thought she would. Secondly, I can get her into a proper heel. However, she still insists on pulling to the side a little bit and will not stop. No matter how many times or what intensity, I've gone up to 25 and she still continues. I turn it up to, she stubbornly continues to want to walk out to the side. I'm guessing to get away from me and maybe sniff the grass on the edge of the sidewalk.
Well,
I'm start the timer.
I get the timer, isn't that? How unfair is that?
No, I'll get the timer too.
Okay. So Kat, first of all, thanks. So glad you're digging the DVDs and so glad they're helping. I love it, love it, love it, love it. That's why we put them out there. Okay, so as far as your issue, I wrote you some notes because I want to make sure I cover this stuff just right for you. So I think there can be a misconception that we're we're asking for more focus on the walk than maybe we are. Now that doesn't mean the dog can be loosey-goosey and everywhere, but mainly what we're looking for with dogs is just heel position, right? They can be, I don't expect the dog to be looking, we're not creating a focused heel where the dog is, where the dog is looking up at the handler the whole time. We're not looking for that. All we're looking for is establish your heel position and don't let your dog move from that position. That's their work. That's the focus, right? So if you're getting like sniffing, if you're getting pulling, if you're getting dragging, if you're getting forging ahead, or if you're getting targeting other dogs, those are all things that need to be corrected, right? So any of that big stuff, yes, get rid of it. But if your dog is holding position, not targeting other dogs, and is just not necessarily like looking at you, I wouldn't worry about that. I would let that go. I would just focus on like my dog's job is to walk like this. Heel position, do not move from that position, and all the other stuff that I said. Now, you said avoidance, and avoidance is kind of a strong term, and typically what trainers mean by avoidance is a dog is in kind of a heavy state where they really like, they'll avoid a trigger or something they've been corrected for and like do serious like turns like that. I think you mean like your dog's kind of being bratty and like really like ignoring you and avoiding you, but maybe not in that same kind of strict avoidance kind of like terminology. So if you've got like avoidance, now I'm falling into it. If you've got your dog like flipping around, I think you said on the sit, then just, you know, if your dog's on e-collar and you've got him on prong, hopefully, if you stop and your dog starts to pivot away from you, I would say no and correct with the e-collar, and then I would use the prong collar to pivot him back into position or her back into position. And just, it's a game of repetition, right? That turning out gets corrected and you get guided back into position over and over. I mean, this is what we deal with all the time. We're out on walks and you should see how rough some of these heel walks or these initial structured walks look. They look a wreck. The dog is doing exactly what you're talking about. It's trying to be everywhere else. It's pulling to the side. It's sitting like the opposite direction. So we get that same thing every single dog, not every single dog, but a ton of the dogs that come through. So don't feel alone or weird about that. As far as the pulling to the side thing, that's another thing that's not that uncommon, and especially with kind of like what I've seen with more bratty, pushy dogs, they really will find whatever way they can kind of like disagree with the structure that you're trying to ask them for. And so just had it recently. I'm trying to think who it was. A big dog, and one of the big guys, I can't remember his name, but for the first 5 days he was out as far as he could be. And so what I'll do with that, and you, it's interesting because you said, you know, I think she might be trying to like go to the edge of the sidewalk and sniff the grass and things like that. But what I will do with dogs like that is actually put them right on the edge of the sidewalk. If they try and sniff the grass, I correct them. But I use the edge of the grass because most dogs, if you put them right on the edge, instead of going like back and forth between, I don't know if you can see my hands, between the grass and the sidewalk, they'll stay right on the edge of the sidewalk. And so you can use the sidewalk to kind of like keep them in towards you, right? You can also use walls. So if you've got any part of your neighborhood or where there's a long chain link fence, you can start walking your dog and do a ton of reps where your dog is like right here, and you can not pin him, but you can really close the gap and keep him in a good space. So those are some strategies that I'll utilize, and a lot of it is just consistency and just going out and making sure that every day it just improves a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And one thing I want to make sure that you get is that if your dog's forging out to the left side, to the left, I want you to say heel and tap the button, but I don't want you to just tap the button and say heel. I want you to also, right after doing that, guide your dog. Don't pop him, but guide your dog in with the leash and prong towards you, because there may be some confusion. There may just be brattiness, but there may be some confusion about what to do with that pressure. So typically what happens is we teach dogs a lot about heeling, like backing up and holding this position this way, but not so much this way. So if you've got the forging out, heel, and then pull the dog in. Heel and go maybe 25, I think you said. I think she said. Maybe that's not high enough. Let's go a little higher, but make sure that you add that pressure, because the e-collar doesn't tell the dog where to go.
Directional.
Right? It's not directional. So, and then you heel and then pull the dog in, heel, pull the dog in. Use fences, use sidewalks. Don't ask for any kind of like excessive focus.
Yeah.
Look for really nice position, and don't allow your dog to stare at any dogs in an untoward fashion or sniff. And that's pretty great. That would be what I'd be looking for.
That's the promised land.
Yeah, you don't need any kind of crazy competition focus or anything like that. And anything that feels bratty or like tantrumy, like spinning around, correct it high and put your dog back where you want him. Just disagree with it, cultivate what you want, and I think if you're consistent, you'll find your way through it.
Yeah, you might be getting a little bit of pushback just because there's maybe it's a little confusing, like, you know, the dog's trying to keep himself in the heel and then like is needing to focus, and like just simplifying it, everything, you might find just a better
So you're going way over. Sorry guys, I try and keep her on.
Anyway, cool.
Yeah, so it could be confusion.
Not necessarily confusion, but just like asking so many things, you might be getting like a lot of like, dogs not necessarily get overwhelmed, but can get a little like, whoa, like there's a lot of rules here now. Went from no rules to a lot.
Right.
So just kind of keeping that in mind, maybe just simplifying everything, you might get just a better relaxed thing.
And if you had a bratty dog to start with, and you start, like Laura's saying, asking a lot of stuff, don't be surprised. You get a lot of pushback.
Yeah.
The dog goes from like, I do what I want, to like, clink.
Yeah.
He's like, what? You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So just keep up with it, be consistent, and try all those things that we suggested.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay.
Where are we?
We have question number 3. Question number 3 looks like it's for me.
It looks like it is for you.
It's from Jessica. Jessica says, hey guys, I'm doing some major behavior mod with my bratty dog Sadie. She's a rescue from Bosnia, so her breed is unknown. No more couch, bed, free love, etc. because she is people and dog aggressive, and it was time for a big change. Awesome. She's learning all the recommended commands, but continues to be very vocal even at home. She whines when she's holding place. She barks when she isn't allowed on the bed, which is all the time now. Is this something that she's corrected with the e-collar, or do I let it go and assume it will get better when she realizes she's no longer in charge? Thanks so much. Your videos have helped me realize my behavior may have created Sadie's issues, and it was time for some big changes at home. Awesome, Jessica. Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me throw this baby on. All right, Jessica. So
6 minutes to get it out.
nice work on working with her and realizing that you may have had some of the issues. I guarantee you Sadie came with her own set of issues, so you're just kind of shoring up your end of the deal. And now it's time to kind of hold her accountable, or definitely hold her accountable for her end of the deal. So if she's whining on place, that's a correctable offense, because all it is, it's a negative state of mind. It's her and kind of like anxious or demanding or whatever she's doing. We want to correct that. No thanks. Of course, it's annoying, but we're more than anything correcting a dog who thinks it's okay to sit there and do that.
Or can't help it.
Or we're blocking it, you know, blocking that anxiety. But I have a feeling it may come from a little bit of demanding stuff, because in that other thing that she's doing, which is barking at the bed when she can't get up there, that's not
there'd be some
anxiety.
clues. There'd be some clues there.
So basically, we want to eradicate that behavior. And what I was trying to picture is like, where is she when she's barking, when she can't get on the bed? Like, is she free roaming? You know, this is a dog. If she's people and dog aggressive and she's still having some bratty stuff inside the house, you say being vocal. That's a really nice way to put it. If she's still doing that stuff, I would have her locked down 24/7 right now. So when you're not there, she's in a crate. When you want just people time and you don't want to be watching her, she's in a crate.
Yep.
And when you're there and supervising, she's out, she's got her e-collar on, and she's in place somewhere. So my hope is that maybe she's barking at the bed when she's like in place in the bedroom. But if she's free roaming and she's barking at the bed, like, get me up there, and I can't get up there, that's no good. The first solution to that will be putting her in command anytime she's out, which sounds like a bummer, and it's no way we want to live with our dogs. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer.
Means to an end.
Yeah, it's definitely a means to an end. So you're doing all this great work, you might as well shore up all the little details. So correcting that behavior, finding the level that works, you know, don't worry about like, oh, but she, you know, corrects when she jumps off place, it's a level 10, and I'm correcting her for the barking at 20 and she's still barking. You know, don't worry about that. You might have to go to 25, you might have to go to 35, you might have to go to 50. who knows? Or it could be 5 or 10 or 15. We don't know your dog's levels or anything like that. So whatever it is, just let her tell you. As long as the fit is good on the collar, then let her tell you what level. And you just pair it with a no, like, no, knock that off. That's not cool here.
Do you have to say that whole thing, the whole command?
You have to. It's like you got to talk to the dogs in full sentences. It really helps.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Knock that off. I don't appreciate it. Please don't do that anymore.
It hurts my feelings when you bark at me like that.
There's actually training like that.
Yeah, and I've heard about it.
Okay. So I just...
We won't get into that.
It's just funny to me because I'm like, that is exactly what my parents did. It didn't really work.
It didn't work?
The only thing that worked was my dad bringing the dogs into the garage with the newspaper, and we'd all be crying in the living room.
It's so funny. So there was, the first attempt was, let's sit down and have a conversation about this with the dogs included.
Yep.
Dogs didn't really like get the full
really part of,
the full impact of what your dad and mom were trying to get across. Then your dad took a second choice,
which was his
door number 2,
which was his door number 1. But not always, but we were like...
And how did the dogs come out of?
Dogs did great after door number 2.
Door number 2?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, the newspaper came out like probably more... If we had had an e-collar, it probably would have been different.
It's just so funny, a newspaper. It's such a benign tool.
It is. It's like a bonker, though.
Yeah,
it's like,
it's a poor man's bonker. Or not even a poor man, an educated man's bonker, right?
If you will. So, yes.
So your dad abused dogs.
No. So, Jessica, you're doing great. Just shore up everything by locking her down.
Yeah.
Definitely correcting for anything you see. And you're probably going to see 1,000 other things now. Anything you see that has that sort of entitled, bratty, or anxious, you know, my guess is this probably more entitled and bratty and demanding stuff just from those little clues. But if anything that you see of that state of mind, even if you're not sure, like, oh, but I allowed that behavior before, remember we're correcting state of mind. We're not necessarily like so worried about the behavior. You know, the behavior is the physical
we care about it.
Yeah. But it's the physical representation of what's going on up here. And so we have to correct that behavior, but also what's going on up here.
Yeah, and that accountability, what it creates up here is the real value, the real important part of the conversation.
We're after.
Right? Which your dad kind of circumvented and just kind of found his own way there, but that's another story.
Yep.
Go Steve! Go Steve Morgan.
Anything you have to add?
No, I mean, I think you really covered it as far as like, I read the same stuff in the notes about like any, and I'm going to say it 5 more times, anytime you've got a dog barking at you to get on the freaking bed, you got a problem. Yes. You've got a demanding, attitude-rich, bratty dog, and that is... That's symptomatic of probably a multitude of things, and there's no big heavy judgment. It's just like it's just when that's going on, that's a kid who's sitting here, you know, you're having dinner and he's like throwing macaroni and cheese at mom and dad, and mom and dad are like, this is really unacceptable. It's like, no, it's not just unacceptable. It's, you need to go talk to Steve Morgan and we're gonna door number 2 you. Anyways, so want to definitely address anything like Laura said. Now it's me. Address anything that looks bratty or pushy, and like affection and soft stuff from you guys. You're gonna have to be so on top of it to make sure that you're not sending any mixed messages. Because it's so easy. Just like a little bit of soft stuff with a dog that's feeling entitled or hasn't lived with rules and structure and respecting humans. That soft conversation, man, can take the dog so far down the track of misbehavior. So, and I like your e-collar suggestion for correcting. Absolutely. Make sure you find the levels your dog cares about and zip that stuff up. I just wrote a post today called Where There's Smoke, There's Fire, and it's all about the verbal parts and what they tie into and what they mean. So nice work on tying it into the post.
Okay, let us know.
Cool.
Okay, so question number 4.
Yeah,
this is from
one of our faves. Naklik.
We talked to her on the phone though, and she said it's just Naklik.
I know, we just like it the other way, so she doesn't really have a choice in the matter. Sorry.
Casey Naklik. Sean and lovely Laura, a question for you. Trigger, who I'm friends with Casey on Facebook, and she posts her little pups all the time. I just want to die. They're so cute.
Is that part of the problem?
Yes, definitely. Trigger is almost 4 months old now, and he's proving to be a bit of a challenge. Yes. So far, I've done everything motivationally, but he's not super food or toy driven.
Yeah.
He's a pretty mellow pup, but he still needs obedience work. Is he too young to start with prong or e-collar? I feel like I've set a solid enough foundation that he understands what I'm asking, but I don't want to overdo it at such a young age.
Casey, Knacklick.
Knacklick.
Knacklick. It feels like we're not doing her name justice.
know,
So it's
it's
like
like
Knacklick.
Knacklick.
No, it's Knacklick. It's got some pizzazz
Yeah,
to
it's
it. So
pizzazz.
I just want to throw that out there. Like, you could think about like,
Maybe a change.
repositioning it to the marketplace. Anyways, so I wrote you some notes, as I usually do, for these important conversations. And the good news is where you're at with your dog, like you've already done, like when you say motivational, I'm assuming you're talking about like all positive stuff, which is,
lots of
food,
positive
toys.
stuff.
Yes, that's positive stuff.
Lots of positive stuff. Indeed. He's proven to be a bit of a challenge.
I wonder why.
I'm sorry to call you out.
We might just need to get him out of your
I was
jacket.
literally just trying to find like the cute. Oh my gosh, right?
He's cute, but I'm telling you, cuteness is such.
So hard.
It's like with this deaf pup that we have right now. I can totally understand why the owners are struggling because he's a bratty pants, like major bratty pants, inside this like ridiculously cute outfit.
Cute.
Like I
the
look at him and I'm
cutest.
like, I get it. I
Yeah.
get why this is hard, but he's cute, I know. But that cuteness, it's like, what did I say that you laugh at so much now?
It's so funny. My favorite line that Sean made up, because Hercules, my dog, got a squirrel the other day, and I was like horrified because Herc's my little special boy. And Sean was like, you have to remember, they're just wolves in cute outfits. I thought that was the perfect way to put it.
I don't know if I coined that, but I like it. So, speaking of wolves in cute outfits, you've got one of your own, and it sounds like that might be part of the problem. But so the cool thing is you've done all of this motivational work, right? Which is like I said, food, toys, praise, whatever, jacket, clinging, papoose style. That might be a whole new dog training stuff. Papoose. Yeah.
Sorry, Casey.
Sorry, we're giving you a hard time. We've known each other long enough, so I can give you a hard time. But actually, it's perfect timing for you to move to the next stage, which is starting to ask for a little bit more compliance, non-negotiability. What I would do is start with leash and prong. Now that you've done the motivational stuff, your dog knows all the stuff. But unless there's accountability, none of it means anything. And it doesn't mean anything as far as reliability of the commands, and it doesn't mean anything as far as changing the mindset and getting the attitude straight and getting it into a good spot. So hold on to that. So what I'd like you to do is start with heel, sit, down, place, and thresholds on prong, right? And you can start soft.
I mean, he's big enough that.
Oh yeah.
He's fine.
Herm Springer small, 2.25. Boom, get it fitted nice. Don't fit it low, Mr. T style, because he's cute and fluffy or anything like that. Did you lose your dog?
I don't know. I thought it was him digging.
So fit that prong nice and snug, and start soft. You don't need to go gangbusters, but start like, okay, now we're doing sit with leash pressure. Now we're doing down with leash pressure. Now we're doing place with leash pressure, and it can be very gentle, but don't be surprised when your dog, who's used to only being motivated and paid for everything, and suddenly has to do stuff. If you get pushback and you get bratty and you get biting the leash and rolling around and all that stuff. But you're at the perfect stage for you've laid a very fair foundation to start saying, now it's accountability time. So do that with leash and prong. That might take you a month, depending on how much time you've got. I think you're probably a pretty astute handler. So maybe in a month and a half, you knock that out, and then you can go to Ecollar straight from there. And once you've got all those commands rocking on leash and prong, transferring to Ecollar is a very easy gig. And because it's already been patterned, so all you're doing is reinforcing. You've seen our videos, and I don't know if Casey's got our DVD or not, but if you are going to go to Ecollar stuff, I'd probably recommend the pup that you get the Ecollar DVD, not to sell it to you, but just because it's really in depth and gives you all the detail, so you can make sure you do it all right. If not, you can look at our and Jeff's kind of do-it-yourself videos. But with a pup, I'd love to see you actually like really dive into
I would
the
love
DVD.
for you to do a full board and train, like
which is in the PDF, and so it'll give you more bang for your buck rather than just training these behaviors. The way Laura and me put together this PDF was really about like trying to mimic our program and help you get the results that we get. So your dog's perfect stage. You've done all the great foundation work and motivational stuff. Now it's accountability time. You can occasionally reward with food if you want to. Just make sure you start making that a very, what's the word? Not incremental, but
like
where it doesn't happen all the time. Like I'm losing my dog trainer. No, there's a term for it. You guys will all hassle me for it, that I can't remember it. And then go to Ecollar and then just slowly start working your way through it, and you'll have yourself a badass dog. But even dogs that are highly trained, if you don't make sure you have all the stuff right in the relationship, like that post I wrote the other day about like the triangle stuff, which is mindset, tools, right? I'm going to do my triangle. Mindset, tools, and then training, and altogether that triangle is really, really strong. But tools and training without the mindset, everything collapses, right? So I know you've got it together. Just be aware that this pup is a dog that's going to grow up and needs that accountability. It's a wolf in a cute outfit, and make sure that you share the good stuff now, so you don't have to like do big heavy stuff to try and like reconcile it down the road.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think you're in the perfect position to make an awesome
He's the
awesome
perfect
dog.
age to be awesome from now on.
So now we want to see cute pictures of him doing great stuff, not just in papoose mode in your jacket. Okay?
Okay, we got
a joint question, number 5.
From Jennifer. Jennifer says, I'm still starstruck. Ooh, I'm new to your videos, but I just adore you. Aw, Jennifer. I rescued a 13-pound Yorkie Schnauzer mix. He has a tracheal collapse already at 2.5 years old. I don't know his life before me, so no idea if it's congenital or a result of previous owners. He came to me only knowing his name. I feel he doesn't trust my leadership like my 11-year-old dog does. We did correction collars with her very young. We've been in agility classes for over a year, which he loves, and he really listens to me well. He waits on cue, hits targets, and follows my instructions. Outside of agility, he's super sweet. He loves people kind of guy, a bit dog selective and nervous with noises, but unless there's food and toys involved, commands he knows are done only if he feels like it.
Dun dun dun.
Uh-oh. I walk him on a harness made for no pulling, but he still pulls. I haven't figured out how to make the walk more interesting for him and less stressful for me. He actually never seems thrilled to go for one. My other dog goes nuts. Because of the medical issue, I know he can't use a prong collar. I watched your e-collar heal, but I'm still unsure how to guide him since I must use a harness rather than a lead attached to his neck. Could you explain how I could safely consider an e-collar and how it won't harm his delicate neck? Is it possible to remount an e-collar to say, behind the neck and get the same success? Or if there's other ways I can guide him to get to respect and trust my leadership?
Very good question.
Very good question.
This is cool. We took this one because it's kind of an interesting one, and I remember, was it last week? Did we have a question about a halty and e-collar and a dog that had like neck stuff?
Something like that.
Something along those lines, right? So this is kind of cool because it means you have to get creative with stuff, right? So me and Laura are both going to kind of jump in and answer this one. I wrote some notes down. First of all, thanks so much for the kind words. The fact that you adore us makes us adore you. And we really appreciate that. So thank you very, very much. Beyond that, I think you're going to be cool with the e-collar and harness setup. So you can use those. Basically, you're going to use, excuse me, got a nose itch. You're going to use your harness as like kind of like what would be your prong collar or your martingale or something like that. Now, that's going to inherently be a little more challenging because the pressure, the way it shares it, isn't going to be as direct and clear about where you want positioning. So you're going to have to work a little bit harder maybe with certain things. The upside is that you've done a ton of work prior with him on all these other using motivational techniques and things like that. So my guess is that your dog's a super smarty pants and knows all of these things like sit down.
To like tune into you.
Yeah, he knows all that stuff. So if you didn't, it could be more challenging because if we're trying to teach sit, down, place, things like that with the harness and with the e-collar, we might have a little bit more challenge just because the harness is going to prohibit a lot of like directional guidance. But with your guy, I think you're gonna hit pay dirt here. So what I want is, I'm going to give you some very explicit instructions. So harness and e-collar setup. You can definitely use an e-collar and not damage a dog's tracheal collapse. So what we want you to do is shave, and I know everybody's like, oh, shave, it's a pain in the butt. It's not a big deal. Use, if you've got a husband or a boyfriend, or if you want to go out and buy a trimmer, you can steal their trimmer, or you can go out and buy one and just shave 2 little rectangular spots on each side of the neck at 4:30 and 7:30, right? So not where the trachea is, offset like this, right? You can even go a shade higher if you want to. Now, the reason we want that is because then we want you to take off the regular contact points that are on your, you should be using a mini educator because it's nice and small for your dog. And I want you to put on a comfort pad, which you can order from Ecollar Technologies. I think they call it a 24-hour comfort pad, a contact pad, something like that.
It's easy to find. It's at ecollar.com, and you go to, I think it's accessories, and they have 24-hour contact pad, I think.
That is what it's called. Okay, great. So, and the reason that I want that and the shaving is because the comfort pad, instead of having two contact points that come out, it has 4 kind of shorter ones. So it sits lower, easier on the neck, and distributes the weight of or the pressure of the e-collar over a wider area, which is much easier on your dog. But if it's not shaved, it can be really hard to get good contact, especially because your dog's probably got a little bit of extra fur, right? Yep. So, and then along with that comfort pad, I want you to also order from Ecollar Technologies, so they're going to be happy because I'm going to make them rich. There's a bungee cord adapter, and Laura uses that with both of her dogs, right? And the bungee cord adapter just fits real easy onto your e-collar strap, and what it does is it allows the strap to give. It allows the e-collar to move just a little bit with your dog. If your dog's active and the neck starts to swell, it gives a little bit. If your dog relaxes and the neck contracts, it contracts a little bit, but it gives a nice breathing kind of easy thing with your dog. And I think that's going to really help mitigate any worries or concerns about you having issues with the tracheal situation, right? So bungee adapter, let's see what else we got here. Be off the side of the neck. Perfect.
Using harness.
Yeah, so from there, I would, just like I was saying, I'd be using the harness to guide your dog. So if you're doing e-collar heel, your dog's got the e-collar on and the harness, and you go out, and just like you've seen in the videos, you're going to apply pressure with the e-collar after you find a motivational level, and then you're going to guide your dog back with the harness. You'll probably have to pull a little bit harder than you would with a prong collar. You may need a little bit of extra gas on the e-collar to kind of compensate that motivation thing, right? We're always trying to strike the balance with the prong. You just need a tiny bit of guidance and a little bit of e-collar pressure. With the harness giving that kind of like less direct information, you might need a shade more e-collar and a shade more like actual arm pressure. But basically it's the same concept, right? So I want you to use the harness and the e-collar, just like in the videos, create a nice immaculate e-collar heel. Rock that world. Now for sit down, place, and thresholds, you can use a leash and harness and e-collar and slowly position the dog in through all that, or not position, but work through all those different behaviors. If you feel like you need to use food to also reinforce, you're free to do that at your own discretion. But what I want is, I want you to know that your dog understands the commands, and then I want you to start to use the e-collar to start to hold the dog accountable, right? So we can't use the prong collar to prime him or create the beginning stuff, but I think you've done a ton of it with the other behaviors. So what we're looking for now is e-collar's on, harness is on, sit, pressure's on with the e-collar. If the dog doesn't sit, you're going to pull up a little bit on the harness. It'd be a little wonky, and then put 2 fingers on the rump, sit the dog down, e-collar goes off. Same basic premise, just a little bit of a different tool that you've got to work a little bit harder with. The goal would be that eventually the harness is only used on the walk with the e-collar, just so you've got a nice safe thing, and then inside the house the harness is gone and it's just the e-collar, and you've got recall, sit down, place, thresholds, that whole deal, and your dog's tracheal collapse can no longer be used against you to not listen and hard time you, and you'll find that you'll have a way more reliable dog in a much different state of mind, and a lot of that kind of bratty stuff should dissipate as well. What do you want to add to that? Because your name's on there too.
We're almost done, but basically, yeah, that's just doing the same exact thing except using the harness. So like, you know, I think a lot of times dogs that have any sort of issues, and I totally get it, you know, whether it's congenital or had something go on before where you
might have just pulled like the Dickens.
Yeah. And so, you know, I think that stuff dogs that have issues can get maybe more catered to and things like that, but it really can be their undoing. So by you doing some good work with the dog is just the best thing for it, and the best thing for your relationship, and best thing for everything.
And you feel solid with the harness e-collar contraption?
I think it's great.
We're on to something?
Yep. Just make sure that you're, you know, you might have to dial up just because you don't have, he might shut down, he might be like, I don't want to come to you, I don't want to feel next to you.
You might get a lot of resistance.
Yeah.
The harness really encourages that.
Unfortunately.
But you can push through it. I'd love for you to see this as a challenge instead of like bummer. Instead, see this as like, I can't wait to email these guys, us guys, in a couple months, and like with a video showing this guy doing all this great stuff. So take the challenge, make it happen, and I think you guys can make this all come together.
Cool. Thanks, Jennifer.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, guys. So last week we didn't give away any prong collar DVDs because we were in Rhode Island and doing our thing.
I'm feeling Scroogey.
Yes. No. But my prong collar DVD challenge is still on for anyone with foster or nonprofit rescue that wants to incorporate balance training into their work. So
I love this challenge.
Yeah, I'm ready for it.
I love it.
What's cool is that, you know,
feisty with it.
I'll give away 1 to 2 a week. We're down for that. But you need to tell me a good story, not just like, hey, I need the prong collar DVD, but like, this is our story.
Yeah.
And because we didn't give away one last week, I'm actually going to do 3 giveaways this week. So,
wowzers.
The first one that's going away is to Jennifer, who we just answered her question number 5.
Mm-hmm.
She had emailed me and asked if we do any like rescue sort of work, working with rescues with T3. And since we don't have anything on the calendar now, I said, you know, we can put you in the running for a prong collar DVD. And she said, that's great. She said, I'd love to have you put us in for the DVD, and I can push really hard for more of our fosters to use your technique.
Wow, cool.
The rescue currently uses a couple people, but it's more reward-based. But myself and other fosters try to utilize a larger toolbox, and if we were able to teach people the proper way to use balance training, I think we'd save more dogs.
Nice.
And I was just like, definitely you would, and that's
right
awesome. So Jennifer, we're going to give you one of those. All you have to do is send me along your mailing address, and we'll send that to you as well as the PDF. So
nice work, lady.
Yes, nice work to you, Jennifer. Thanks for doing that. And again, anyone that we're giving these things away to, the biggest payment that you can repay us with is to give us before and after video of any of the dogs that you're working with, because man, before and after video is awesome for marketing, but what it's even more awesome for is the many people that contact us and say, you know what, I had totally lost hope with my dog until I saw your Desmond video, and so I went out and bought myself a prong and an e-collar and trained my dog off your free videos, or Jeff Gelman's free videos, or whoever else's free videos.
Mostly ours.
and now my dog's a rock star. Like those emails come in, and that's from the before and after videos. That's from people finding before and after videos on YouTube and being like, how did they do this? And it's great for the balance training message.
That's what I was just going to say. If I can just add one thing, the before and after videos, there's everybody knows there's all this friction out there about like what methodology works and what's good and what's bad and what's going to mess up your dog. There's nothing better, guys, for if you want to change this conversation, if you want to open up the rescue and the shelter world and the dog owning population in general to better tools, more balance training, more success, more reliability. Before and after videos, it's the one thing that the other side of the aisle, they can't really share. So they're not able to create those kind of results. So when you share before and after videos, the one person is creating a ripple that's helping other people feel different about these tools, this training approach, and then the results. And there's nothing that comes close to showing actual results with a dog to get people to feel like, wow, I'd like to give that a shot.
Totally.
And I think that's all of our responsibility, who's kind of fighting the good fight here to get this message out. So like Laura said, lots of good reasons to do it, but that's another reason that's super important.
If we're giving you this, we're going to be sending it out. You know, it's a $75 DVD to the public. If we're giving it to you as, you know, for foster rescue, we had just gotten some news from, there was someone, Chelsea, I think it was, who we gave 2 DVDs.
Yeah.
Because she was having health issues.
Yeah.
She actually was going to get before video, but she already had started working with her dog. And so the dog now doesn't do any of the old stuff, which is which is so great that it actually worked. But really helpful if you guys can get the bad behavior before, so we can really show this stuff. That's the whole point about these giveaways, is that we can get some return with being able to
spread the word.
People with our, you know, because we have a pretty good reach on YouTube. So we're able to educate people, not just saying like, hey, look at us, but like, hey, look at balance training. It really
hey, look at what's possible.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So even though she couldn't get that, boy, does that warm my heart.
Doesn't that great? Yeah.
It makes
so
me feel
cool.
pretty damn good.
And she's actually going to send us some of the after stuff. So
cool. I'm happy to take that. Yeah, it's great.
It's awesome. It just would have been cool for everyone to see what it was like before. But hey, I love that she's doing great work.
Yeah.
So cool. So that's the first DVD.
Cool.
Second giveaway goes to Michelle Frederick. Michelle wrote me, and she's talking about a prison program where she works with inmates with dogs, dog training stuff. She said, Laura, our prison program is a 10-week training program where shelter dogs, owner-surrendered dogs, are sent to Lakeland Correctional Facility in Coldwater, Michigan. The dogs live with and are trained by the inmates for the entire 10 weeks. The trainers are not allowed to use prong collars in the facility, but us fosters on the outside do sometimes, so we can maintain control over our untrained foster dogs. So it would be wonderful to have some sort of training for people before they use the collars. While the dogs are in training in the prison, we share their training reports weekly with our Facebook followers, so we can find the dogs permanent qualified adopters, so they can go straight to forever homes when the dogs are sent away.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So Michelle, send us your address. We are so happy to help you guys, and that would be something. I know you have updates on Facebook, so let us know your Facebook page so we can check that out. And if you had any video of any dogs that you're working with before and after, we'd love that too.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say something that I don't know what their rules or restrictions are.
Yeah.
But you know, there's I know we're not crazy about them, but as kind of like an in between, those Star Mark plastic prongs.
Yeah.
They don't work as good as a regular prong collar, but they're light years better than a lot of other tools.
Yep.
And maybe because they're plastic, they might be something in that you could bring into the prison system and get an okay on, which would give people better results. So just something to throw out there. You may not be able to use it, but who knows? Fingers crossed. Maybe it would be a little something helpful for you guys.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, great. So Michelle, let me know. I'm so excited for that.
Me too.
Then our final giveaway is to Colleen Anderson. Colleen Anderson says, "Hi Laura, I know you must get a ton of emails, so let me start out with a thank you for taking the time to read mine. My name's Colleen, and I've been involved
in these polite people.
I know. I'm involved in Doberman Rescue in Fillmore, California for about 12 years now. I started out as a dog lover, but over time I've learned so much and hope to only learn more. When Caesar came on the scene, my approach toward working difficult cases changed. I'm forever grateful for that change. I think I have the right attitude that's gotten me far, but a recent group of foster dogs made me painfully aware that I still have so much to learn. They weren't difficult behavioral cases, but they were all young with no training, and I felt like I was living in a doggy frat house. I have been aware of the good dog for a long time, and we even had one of your clients come to walk dogs one Saturday. We talked dog philosophy, and she said that Sean transformed the way she walked her Doberman.
What?
I have walked several Q&As, and I want to learn.
Do we know who it was?
I don't know. I want to learn how to train my fosters using your fundamentals. I'm going to save up for Ecollar training, the Ecollar training DVD. We've always been pro prong collar at the rescue, but we haven't talked about Ecollar training, so I was unsure how people would react. Oddly enough, one of our volunteers was looking into getting started, so she was behind the curve. Anyway, I saw the Q&A where you give away your DVDs, and I kicked myself for missing out on that drawing. So now she just said, you know, I know you have free videos, but it'd be great. You know, we're the largest Doberman rescue in the country, and I'm proud of what we do for the breed, but I feel we can do more. I want to make us the role models for our adopters so we can make successful placements and help set our dogs up for success. Would you ever consider donating a DVD to us? We can start off with the prong fundamentals, and maybe I'll ask for the e-collar DVD for my birthday next month. I know you guys are a business, and giving things away isn't necessarily the way to run a successful business, but I can promise that one DVD would go a long way for us. If there's anything we could work out, I'd be endlessly grateful. grateful. Thank you so much for your help.
That's sweet.
And then she says, P.S. I got the audiobook for Art of Exceptional Living based on your recommendations. Only on the first listen, but making changes already.
That rocks. That rocks as much as the rest of that story. And she's in Fillmore, California, so that's actually not that far away.
No, not at
all. Very
all.
cool.
Yep.
So she's going to get the Prong Collar DVD.
Prong Collar DVD. I'm sending her an email right now.
That's
yeah,
so great.
Colleen, it's just so cool. Like, just to hear, it makes me so happy to hear that there's rescues out there, like a huge Doberman rescue that's actually open to prong collar
Starting
training.
to use, or have been using tools like that.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you guys, things are changing.
Yeah.
I swear to God,
Totally.
I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I know it's kind of a tough battle out there. I know that there tends to be a lot more organization and a lot more dollars behind the positive only movement. There's a couple companies that I won't mention, Lush, that don't encourage e-collar use and are actually very much against them. I know some people that happen to like their products and are a bit of like a conundrum.
Well, it's not all of Lush. It was just one store.
Was it just one store?
It was one store, but it was pretty.
I thought it was kind of like their big like cheese was like, we will not use.
No.
Anyways, so if you're using Lush products, check them out. But honestly, real quick, I know we got to wrap this up.
Yeah.
But I really feel like things are changing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's such a special time. And not to be too nostalgic and not to give ourselves too much props, but there's so much generosity and so much sharing going on.
Yeah.
In the dog training world right now, especially in the balance training world. You've got people like Blake Rodriguez and Jeff Gelman and Tyler Muto and Tori Smith and God, I'm forgetting Ted Epithemiitis and Larry Crone.
Dog training in New Jersey and just all sorts.
We could go on and on and on. I'm sorry for anybody that I've forgotten, but I feel like I'm at the Academy Awards. But what's happening is all of this free content is going out there and slowly changing. It's shifting, and I'm so excited to be part of it. I think both of us, we've had this mission for a long time.
Totally.
This is not just about like, hey, let's do a little like web show.
Part of T3 was starting T3 with Jeff Gelman was thinking like, man, if we can get all balance trainers out there doing videos and people Google the word prong collar on Google and all these
25, 30
videos come up with dogs being changed and how gentle you can use the tool and all that instead of the photo of the embedded
the one embedded prong collar that was on the dog since he was 2 months old.
Exactly.
So things are changing, guys, and you're all part of that change. And I'd encourage any of you, and I know it's responsibility, and I know it can be pressure, social pressure, but I'd encourage any of you who are using more balanced tools and having success with them to do whatever you feel comfortable with to spread that word, share that word, and let other people know that might be struggling that these tools aren't the devil's work and that they can actually create the reliability, the safety, and like you want to talk the big stuff, keep dogs in homes that might not otherwise be able to, keep dogs alive that might not otherwise be able to stay alive. That's the big stuff. So we're all out there kicking butt. It's a special time. And like I commented to somebody on Facebook today, it's a special time to be a dog owner.
Yeah.
Like when you started out and when I started out, it was pretty lean.
Yeah, it was
and
like
now,
Bellman.
it was just Jeff on his radio show. Like, you gotta put a prong collar on your dog. And now here's all this information and detailed information. It's a special time.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us being able to be a part of it. And we so appreciate all of you guys for like supporting it. I know it's not always popular stuff, and some of you guys put yourself at risk for criticism. So I applaud all of you guys for standing up and doing what you believe, and together we will make some cool changes happen with this world. So, and with that, me and this cool young lady next to me are going to get out of here, and we got dogs to train.
We do. There's tons of stuff to do around this place. Trust me.
Move in. I think it's time for me to go get dinner. Anyways, nice work, lady.
Bang.
We'll see you guys next week, all right?
Next week. Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
Bye.